In any event, but I've also downloaded quite a few of the mangas from the sites just because there's a lot of them that are controversial. I like to actually look at the controversy aspect of it, and I figure it's the same. It's the same as I feel about hentai in general. Is that if there's a good story to it, I don't care if it's hentai or not. I'll just watch it because I look at it as an anime first, and whatever genre of anime it is later. Just like I like Gundam and Evangelion and Macross, but don't like, in particular, mecha anime. So, but in any event, going on to the Lolly Shota thing, what I was referring to are things like, are just Lolicon, Shotacon in general, where it's either, where you could actually see that the characters are pretty much meant to be those types of characters.
See, that I don't find is
I have this here too.
appealing, sexy, or anything of the above. I mean, borderline legal high school area?
And keep in mind, like for example, Toradora, Taiga from Toradora, looks like a 10-year-old, but
That's why I wasn't wanting her to.
I haven't finished watching that like 2 days ago.
I can't.
so did I. I thought I should watch that just because I knew I was going to bring this up.
Yeah. The funny thing is, I didn't like her for that exact reason. But in all honesty, no. My take on it is pretty simple, and I honestly feel as like, you do what you want, but at the same time, what bothers me is that child pornography is outlawed in so many countries. It's very few countries it's not outlawed in, or at least it's somewhat westernized in, or not third world countries. Well, the problem is if that's the case, why is this allowed? I mean, you can make the argument that hentai is, hentai is, just pornography, and pornography is, legal, well, that's fine, but then, why is this allowed if child pornography is allowed? And for good reason.
Maybe for like the no eras on the disclaimer. You got the image, but it didn't really happen.
Well, here's one aspect of it. If you're actually seeing a character and they look like they're obviously an underage person, but then they start responding in the same way a 17 or 18-year-old or 20-year-old would respond and acting like that. One view of that is you no longer look at them as a child because they're not acting like a child anymore.
Okay, but that's
And they may
flat out ridiculous, though. I mean, it's like saying if you have a 12-year-old girl who dresses like, I'm not going to use the derogatory term, but who dresses kind of liberally in a way that her parents don't like, and she acts like she's 19, does that make it in any way okay to treat her like a 19-year-old?
But now
No.
you're implying that
Obviously not. Well, obviously, if you're dealing with real people, it's flat out wrong regardless.
Yeah.
I'm sure everyone here could agree with that.
Yeah.
I mean, well, it'd be a lot easier to put it this way if there were more people here. I could almost say it'd be easier to single you out since I know where you stand. It's when it comes to
we need to start getting packed up, to tell you the truth.
What? If there's nobody showing up for the...
when it comes to lolly and
So we
shota,
won't worry about it.
my big thing is I know you like Call of Duty a lot. I could probably, like, if there were a lot of people here, I could be like, who's played Grand Theft Auto and Call of Duty? A lot of people buy it. Like Grand Theft Auto 4 sold millions of copies the first day. And you cannot tell me that the funnest thing to do on that game is to drive on the sidewalk and use cheats, and people can dub it a cop simulator, and that would a cop killing simulator, and that wouldn't be too inaccurate. But influenced bad things if it was wrong, if it wasn't just a fictional thing, people would be killing each other on the streets. Now, if lolicon should be illegal because it's wrong, Grand Theft Auto, Call of Duty, Halo,
Any kind of
any sort of
simulation
illegal
of-
thing should be banned because it's wrong. When you play Call of Duty and you run up to another player and you shoot someone, you're like, oh, I shot you in the head, take that, I'm gonna teabag you. You could just completely go off the charts with it, have so much fun about it, but when it comes to fictional stories, fictional actions, and fictional desires, I believe people know the difference between fiction and reality. I think somebody could play Call of Duty and say this is fun and would never even imagine killing someone.
Well, what about the whole argument that, because oftentimes the whole violence versus sex thing has been used a lot. And I've actually seen it used over and over and over again. But let's, I guess, for me to be contradictory as moderator, let's go ahead and look at from the point that, at least if it's violence, it can't be a sort of release to actually just go kick butt and things like that. Whereas if it's something that's sexually related, it's kind of a biological response. Oh, is it the How to Draw Manga panel?
Oh, no, sorry, I was taking over the room.
Oh,
I
okay.
have a panel in here later.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, we're doing a debate right now until the How to Draw Manga people come in and kick us out.
Oh, okay, sorry, I just
But
wanted
it
to take.
feels like
That's
that
all right.
apply to like anything though, like every single story come with conflict. Like you could even read a murder story that would be crucified as the murder. How about like, I'm trying to think of an example that isn't violence.
Well, one argument is that the sexual pull is hundreds of times stronger than the violence pull on it. Because really, when you're playing something violent, you don't exactly get a specifically biological mental reaction in quite as direct a form. Whereas if you're watching anything sexual in nature, there's obviously an immediate response and an immediate chain of events, let's put it this way, which kind of needs to be alleviated at one point or the other. However, then on the flip side, you have the argument that a lot of these things will build up naturally on their own, and it would be better that somebody takes it out on a black and white ink and paper manga and their own self in their own house on their lonesome, and rather than take it out into society.
Well, if somebody is considering taking something like that into society in the first place, then they have an issue. I mean,
Yeah.
that's unarguable. They have an issue. It's the same way to where once you put the whole violence thing down, I hate using
Yeah.
that relation. I really do once you put it in that perspective. But it's like if somebody wanted to get out their anger and play a violent video game or something like that. I'm just using this cross because more of a whether they're getting it out or not. The big thing is it's not the game's fault. They have issues as it is, you know.
Yeah. Well, it could also be seen
And
in
then what about the idea that it only appeals to those who have the issues in the first place to begin with?
Yeah. You have to meet those people to say that.
Well, it could also fall into the category of the same example of hentai in general, being that are you going to it because it looks like an interesting sort of an anime that happens to be a hentai, or are you looking at because you want to watch hentai? It's the same with lolicon, shotacon. Are you going there because you're after something that's lolly and hentai?